Today's Stripe Show podcast is brought to you by About Golf Simulators. And we're back, Stripe Show podcast on a Tuesday. And look who's in the house with me in the studio, coming at you for the very last event of the year on the PGA Tour, the RSM Classic. He's on his way up there to Sea Island shortly, and I talked him into stopping by the studio. Welcome in, buddy.
Hey, this place is amazing. If you live anywhere within driving distance of the Stripe Show podcast, we should start doing these live.
I know,
like the McAfee show or something.
I know.
You know, I might stand up.
We could. You stand up. I'll get you a beer if you want it. I mean, I got a full. You know, I mean, it's noon. So, well, it's noon. Yeah,
I mean, I was on the plane today.
Yeah.
So, like I could use a little leg stretch. And this place is awesome. I'm excited. I love Sea Island. Yeah. I've been there many, many times. Played both courses more than any other, obviously, PGA Tour course out there. And I just, it's just such a wonderful place. It's so relaxing to be there and everything. And I can understand why they have a decent field this week, even as the last run. But 156 players vying for their lives. A lot of the guys, there's a lot of storylines this week. Yep. I mean, it's not just that top 125, but you've got, maybe a Masters invite, maybe that next 10. I mean, we got all sorts of things we could talk about. Where are you going with me today?
Well, there's a lot of storylines. I mean, not just in professional golf, or not just in PGA Tour golf, but professional golf. Actually, as of this afternoon, it's the Netflix Cup event, right? On Netflix. The first time they're going live on Netflix for a sporting event.
Yes.
And Ricky and JT and Max and Morikawa are there. They're going to play with the F1 racers in Vegas. You interested in that?
I am an F1 fan.
Okay.
Thanks to Netflix and their Drive to Survive. Everyone always talks about Full Swing and how it kind of missed the mark. I think like guys like you and I, or people that are deep into golf, it was a little bit too inside baseball for us. Like, what were they going to teach us about golf, right? But I can't tell you how many people have looked at that the same way that I reacted to Drive to Survive for F1, and I got totally wrapped up in it. And now I watch F1 races. So they're racing the Strip this weekend, and they're combining golf and one of the most popular sports in the world. For me, it's a home run. Yeah. And they've got some good guys there. Ricky, JT, they got the right young drivers. Obviously they have to be able to play golf as well. So it's gonna be pretty cool.
And Max just won down in Africa, and he's coming back up to be a part of that. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, that's another leg. And keep in mind, we're just now a month and a half away from TGL.
Well, I was gonna say they announced Atlanta yesterday, and Max and Morikawa spent the Atlanta Drive, golf club, and they're doing better than the Cliques, but I'm still not sold. That's got to be, just at a quick tangent, that's got to be one of the hardest things in the world to do, is to come up with the name of a franchise. Like when they first came out with the Orlando Magic, everybody was kind of like, really? Yeah. It's got to be a difficult thing to. I mean, I'm a big, I can't say it anymore, but I'll say Washington football team fan. And
how'd they do last week? Up in Seattle.
They did not win.
Oh, they
did not. Appreciate that. The Sea Chickens got me. The final.
Speaking of great names, Seattle Seahawks. I mean,
Seahawks is a great name.
That's a great name.
The former name was a good name. The Washington football team was a fun name.
Yeah,
because they kind of lost their name for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
And then now we went to the Commanders, and I don't like. Yeah. It's tough to pick a name. It
is.
And I guess Atlanta Drive is. I mean, the traffic there is terrible.
What about this? The Boston Common.
Well, I get where they're going there, and the Boston Common is a big thing. Much like Central Park.
Bigger than Jupiter Links Golf Club. LA Golf Club. That's just
LA Golf Club was good.
That
was good. Yeah. New York still has a chance. That'll be my home team.
San Francisco
has a chance to come up with a name. It'll be interesting, but all this Morikawa, we get off on these tangents, but all this Morikawa Homa time, Homa's got to be LA Golf Club, right? Yeah. With Xander and
for sure.
I was surprised Cantley wasn't on a California team, San Fran or
Xander. His dad probably not enough money there for him. Xander's all about the cash.
Yeah, but he signed up for TGL.
I know, but maybe there's like he wants more now.
I don't. Stefan. Yeah.
So look,
I wouldn't bet on him.
So look,
yeah.
So TGL's coming up. They're going to do this this kind of preview show at the end of December, and then the first one's January 9th, and it's not far from Jupiter's, like 3.5 hours south of here. I'm actually kind of interested in it, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm invested in it, indoor golf. I see the growth of it. I think it's a great avenue for so many to get into the game and play the game, and I think it's cool that these guys are embracing it. So I'm kind of excited to watch it. And, you know, am I going to be fully invested as far as the teams and how they do? I don't know. I mean, that's tough for me. But that's another angle of professional golf, TGL.
Yeah.
Right. We got the Netflix Cup. We got the PGA Tour Fall Series. We're going to get to that here in a second. But don't forget now. Don't forget. Let me go here now, okay? Because LIV Golf is making some changes too. I mean, as a golf fan right now, I mean, like I'm so excited that we're coming to in the end here because my head's about ready to explode. Like I can't keep up with all this.
LIV Golf's still going.
Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, there's a play-in tournament December 8th through 10th at Abu Dhabi. Okay, they're going to be playing for 3 spots.
All right,
1.5 million, I think, is the purse. 200,000 to first, something like that. Oh yeah, they just
just print it.
Oh yeah, and so now there's a new re-signing period. There's 3 zones. There's the locked zone, okay, where the top 24 for last year, they're locked in.
Okay.
There's the open zone. Still trying to figure out what that is. The drop zone is 45 or worse. They can be dropped. They go into free agency. That's a different twist now. They can do trading next year. And then there's also going to be a draft coming up where the top 3 from this play-in tournament plus the winner of the Asian Tour International Series, they can then be drafted. Yeah. Right? So
wait, okay.
I mean, one more thing going on in professional golf, and I can't, like, I'm in the business.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting. I can't even imagine as a fan, like, hey, wait, what? What the drop zone? What is that? Is that TGL or LIV, or what is that?
I mean, it sounds sounds to me like somebody, an area on the 17th hole of CPC Sawgrass. I mean, I don't I mean, there's so much change going on at LIV all the time, and nobody wants to bet it. So, I have a little bit of a bias. I kind of joke about it just because it doesn't really enter my world that much. So I don't know that much about it. But you bring up something interesting there. So the top 24 are locked in. Like, I've seen a bunch of the scores throughout the year, not all of them, but like a guy like Phil, right? He's not in the top 24. What happens to him in his 200 million?
Phil knows people. So,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, and so that's part of it. That's like in the very, that part of the contract you don't read. It's like underneath there. That's in there. Like if you know people underneath there, then you're good. 24 plus knowing people. So I think Phil's going to be okay. I don't know if Phil's in the top 24. I'm sure Taylor Gooch is. He won 3 times.
He was the order. I don't know what they call it.
He won it all. Yeah. Remember he got the
order of flowing robes
and Greg got down on a knee and gave him his ring. And so that was cute. So there's just
Cam Smith.
There's just so much going on. And of course, we get in December and, we've got the Hero. And what's Tiger going to do now? It's Tiger season in December. We're going to see him at the Hero. We're going to see
his birthday month.
We're going to see him in him and Charlie down in Orlando for the PNC. So there's a lot to talk about. We'll be doing some, I'm sure we'll be get together again. I know this is the last term of the PGA Tour, but I'm sure we'll get together, be able to kick it around a little bit more, maybe for the Hero and some other things for December. But let's get to Sea Island now. Okay, let's go up the road. We've got a tournament. It's a good field, DL3. This
wonderful
is his
host.
spot. Wonderful host. I mean, I think this is kind of the winter meetings, perhaps, for the President's Cup and the Ryder Cup. I mean, Freddie's in town. I know Sink's there. Zach. I mean, all the boys are in town, maybe for a little, a little meeting too, a little brandy, a little cigar, talk about, some of the things that went right and what didn't. So you look at this, and there's 2 courses, Seaside, Plantation, as you mentioned. What kind of player are we looking at here?
It's interesting. Go through the last 10 winners, right? And I'm going to put you in a scenario here. Okay. I'm going to line up for the average golf fan. Let's say we got to go down to the police station. There's a lineup, right? And we're going to throw up Adam Svensson, Taylor Gooch, Robert Streb, Tyler Duncan, Charles Howell III, Austin Cook, Mac Hughes. I mean, these are the last guys that just won there. Everyone would know Kisner from all his Barstool antics and everything, but those names right there, and you line them up, the average golf fan, maybe this is your point. There's so much golf going on, right? I don't know if I would. I might like. I go out. You know, this week is my 22nd trip out on tour this year, right? And I honestly, if Robert Streb walked by me and he's won there twice, I might have trouble. I might. And no disrespect to him, but there's a lot of guys that look the same. And not only do these guys like their games look the same, but they actually look the same.
Yeah,
like they're the same build. They're the same type of player. Yes, the same guys tend to show up here, but when we start to handicap these golf courses, they're very similar to one another. The scoring is different, but the skill set you need at both is almost identical, right? We're talking a lot about driving accuracy. It's very much like I'll take you back out to another coastal venue when we go around Pebble Beach. Everyone's talking about, oh, you got to hit 4-iron to here, you got to hit 3-wood to here, you can hit driver here, right? It's a very positional golf course off the tee. It's resort golf, so there's generous landing areas, but you got to go for the generous landing areas. And then from there, approach play takes over. It's another wedge fest like Bermuda. And then, the putter is really the biggest game. You look at the last 10 winners or over the last decade against the field, those guys that took home the trophy are on average gaining over 5 strokes on coastal Bermuda, which is super grainy. I mean, you're familiar to that. You're here in Jacksonville. I mean, putt towards the rip. So you got to, so at the end of the day, the biggest difference everyone's going to find is going to come down to the weather. And I know we'll get to that at some point, or if you want to touch upon it now, but Seaside evokes what its name is, right? You go out to the St. Simons Sound and it's totally unprotected. Plantation is tree lined, and they're neither one is inland because they're on an island, but Plantation is far more protected.
You're going to get some weather tomorrow. I mean, we haven't seen the sun here in 2.5 days, which is really unusual from Florida. And, kind of gets sitting off the coast here. This marina comes in and it hasn't left, but the weather from the Gulf's pushing over, and that's where they're going to get the heavier rain. And so they're going to get some tomorrow for sure. They're going to get some Thursday for sure, probably a little Friday, and it's going to be windy too. So it's going to be wet and windy on Thursday for sure, probably Friday as well. Maybe there's a little advantage for those, on the splits there. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see as we get closer, but then the weekend's going to be beautiful. It's going to clean out, maybe a little wind Sunday, but I think you're going to have to manage the wind for sure. And it's not going to be as cold as we saw it last year, but it is going to be a little damp. So they're going to have to manage that. I still find myself thinking about picking all these guys up out of the lineup, like Svensson for sure, Gooch for sure. I think I would have a harder time with Austin Cook without a hat on. And you got to go back down to the McGladrey Classic and Ben Crane. Tommy Gainey. I mean, this is
two gloves, baby.
This is the who's who.
Well, back in those days, I mean, it's a much different setup right now. You talk about the FedEx Cup Fall, the 7 events.
Yep.
This is now essentially the Wyndham. You're talking about the top 125 cut. Before we get into that though, and the different things that are in play this week, really important for the bettors, okay, and the DFS guys and gals. The splits this week, there aren't splits. Basically, what happens is that they split the field in half, and they use tee times, right? Because they have 2 different golf courses. So they take the best time of the day and they send them out. So the splits have more to do with what golf course you're playing. If Thursday turns out to be the bad day and you're on Seaside, you're done. I'm just telling you right now, that is not where you want your money at. Okay. We don't know the tee times as of yet. So a lot of what we talk about today has to be verified with what's going on. But, and even in good or independent of the weather, 4 of the last 5 winners have started on Plantation and then went to Seaside. And the reason for that is that Plantation is easier. They build momentum. They have a good first round. They go over to Seaside. But if there's any kind of weather, Seaside is easily 3 shots harder than Plantation, if not more, depending on how bad the weather is. And we got to pay attention to that on Thursday. You go Seaside Thursday and it's bad, it's going to be bad.
Okay.
You're going to be behind the 8 ball.
Okay. That's good. All right, let's get to the board. You want to go first, or you want me to go first? First look to the board. You take it.
I flew in, man. I'm going first.
Take it.
Billy Ho.
Oh, no. I like
Come on. Jacksonville's 5 in Jacksonville. I
like it.
I got to take Billy Ho, man. Yep.
Playing good.
50. Yeah. 50-1.
Yep.
He's sitting right there in the middle. A lot of people, they kind of wrote him off this year. They wrote off Billy Ho because he had a terrible winter, terrible spring. He got to work, with Todd, and they worked some things out. And then all of a sudden goes to 3M, 13th? Then he goes to Wyndham, gets 4th. Then his season's over because he didn't have a good year, right? So he says, you know what? I like going to Europe. I like a little style over there in the London. He goes over to BMW, right? Plays well there, top 20. Then he goes Le Golf National, top 20. Irish Open, 45th or something like that. So he's played all fall. And this argument that we keep going back and forth on, which we've called each other out on, and we've both made the mistake of picking guys that hadn't been playing, and then they play. And like Morikawa did good. Cameron Young the other week, who I picked in Mexico, was awful, right? So like it goes back and forth. Billy has played. He's playing much better. He's played here 4 times before. He's got the experience, finished runner-up in 16 in that 5-man playoff. I'm going Billy Ho.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick. It's good to see Billy playing. He really struggled most of the season. Yeah. And look, he's been here before. He's very good on Bermuda greens, quicker the better. So yeah, he's checking a lot of boxes coming in, and a little win here to finish off the season, maybe to, kind of resolve a little bit of what's been probably a struggling year for him. I think he's pretty focused right here, and he's going to have a lot of friends up there. Where
are you going?
Look,
what are you hunting?
I want to stay with a dog. Okay. I want to stay with a Georgia Bulldog. And this first look, you're going to have to actually kind of look in and move some branches because he's got his tree house set up in there.
I know where you're going.
and seeing this guy, he's coming back to play, for his friends here. So I'm going with Brian Harman. I know he hasn't played much, but I feel like Brian is going to come here and he's going to play well. He knows this place inside and out. He's part of that. He's part of that Sea Island Mafia up there. I finished second here last year, and he's the top dog, man. I mean, he is literally the top dog when you look at the season he had. He's won the Open Championship. He played in the Ryder Cup. He finished high in the FedEx Cup, and he's coming in with a lot of confidence. And I think, he knows his place, and he knows how to putt Bermuda greens. And I think he'll get it going here. Probably kind of start little, 4 or 5 under and just kind of build into it as the weekend goes. It'll turn perfect Saturday and Sunday. And he's going to really, really cap off a great season for this year for him. A great season winning in Georgia. Do you like dog racing?
No.
So,
well, I can't say that. I have very little experience.
So so let's just kind of keep this theme about dogs going.
Okay.
Here, right. He's a dog, and we like dogs out there. And so in dog racing, so they put him in classes, right? And you're a maiden, and then you win, and then you go to grade D, and then it goes C, B, A, and then the top dogs, if you will, the fastest are AA.
Okay.
And so Harman is a AA dog,
definitely,
right?
Certainly this year
he's a AA,
yeah.
And he's coming back, and he's kind of moving down in class, and he's playing in a B race right now. This is a B race.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you're handicapping dogs, that's a big deal. Is he going up in class?
Oh, I get where you're going there.
Or is he coming down in class?
Yeah.
And so Harman's coming out of his tree house, and I hope he leaves the paint on. I hope he's on the first. I hope he leaves the paint on his face. I hope he's camouflaged, and he's got his bow and arrow in the bag. I mean, that'd be awesome, right? And he's going to go out there.
Does that count as a club?
And he's moving down in class, and he's like, I'm going to put the cherry on top of what's been a great season. Brian Harman first, Billy Horschel second, Georgia, Florida, all over again.
Yeah, world's largest cocktail party, right? The happens here in Jacksonville. You and I coming together,
happened.
Right?
Just happened.
Okay, so I got good news, bad news for you on Harman, right? So let's go. We'll go bad news first. He's had 11 trips there. He only has 3 top 10s. So a big thing we're going to hear about this week.
He was moving up in class. Now he's so psychological with these dogs.
I get it. I told you I had good news in a second. All right. So the bad news first is that 11 trips, 3 top 10s, right? But his last trip was runner-up. Okay. He is definitely a different, more confident player now. Yeah. We're going to hear so much this week about the Sea Island Mafia and everything. It's going to be, nauseating. But one of the trends about that group is that they don't play well there.
Yeah.
Right. I think maybe they're entertaining too much or there's too many distractions. That being said, one of the storylines that I love to dig into here about Seaside and that golf course done by Tom Fazio, the redo in 1999, is that this is a par 70 golf course. All right. So par 4 scoring, there's 12 of them, all these different things. No one all week, other than this show or what I do at Read the Line, is going to talk about par 70 scoring. All right. Who are the best par 70 scorers in the field for this group? Right. And I can tell you right now, number one is the man who basically owns that place, and that's Webb Simpson.
Yeah.
But Webb's not walking through that door.
Yeah.
You know who number 2 is? Brian Harman.
Yeah.
Brian Harman. Brian Harman destroys par 4s. And that's what you have to do to be a good par 70 player, because you don't have those 2 extra par 5s. So with 3 rounds on a par 70 golf course, you've got to look at the guys that are really, really good at par 70 scoring. And some of the names on that list are Brian Harman, Chris Kirk, Mac Hughes, JT Poston, Billy Horschel, right? Guys, this isn't on the tour. This is the guys that are there, right? And those guys have all had success there. We're not making this stuff up, folks. This is crucial to you picking 6 for 6 in your DFS or picking an outright winner, in that you got to have somebody that can score on these par 4s, because you're going to get 12 of them and they're very scoreable there.
I also, I'm with you on that. And I'm 100% on board with Brian Harman being number 2 in that list. The other thing that attracts me to Harman and attracts me to JT, which I want to ask you about here in a second when we get into buy or sell, is we need someone that can go plus 6, 7, 8 in putting. Like we need someone. Putting is elevate. You've got to get it going here.
Yes.
And you can't be slipping by plus 2 and win. I mean, you've got to go plus 6. I mean, what was it? Svensson last year was plus 9. I think Gucci year before that was plus 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty consistent. Bermuda, you've got to get it going here.
Yeah.
With the putter. And you know what? Harman can get it going. I mean, he can go plus 7, 8. And I feel like that's what's going to happen as he dominates those par 4. All right, let's go into buy or sell, because I want to ask you about some guys here.
All right.
2 guys that
hit me.
You've hit already. 1 or 2 guys, I'm wondering what the hell they're doing here.
Me and you? No.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So let's start with Poston. Buy or sell, top 20.
I would buy there.
Okay.
I would buy there. We were against JT just showing up at Shriners, and what did he do? 3rd. The putter was hot. Everything was the same it was when we were betting him back at 3M at Wyndham. Mm-hmm. So I think JT is definitely a threat. He's a resident there. So if you were listening to me, maybe not a win, but definitely buy for a top 20. I mean, if you can get a number on a top 20 on JT Poston, then you deliver.
That's what he does, though. He can go positive 5, positive 7 at the John Deere putting, positive 5 at 3M Open, finish 2nd.
Wedge game's good too, and you got to be a good wedge player there.
Yeah.
You know, you got to do it. And one of the gaps in his game is off the tee, and you don't have to be great there. You just got to put the ball in play.
All right, here's an interesting one.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this one I'm curious to see what you say here. Matt Kuchar.
Oh, Cooch.
Yeah.
Right. So there's gonna be a lot of talk about him, and one of the reasons why is Matty Boy is sitting at 52nd in the official world golf rankings. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure he would love to go back to the place that gave him his first notoriety back in 1998 when he went to the Masters, right? And he finished in the top, whatever it was, 20. And everybody was going nuts about the Aw Shucks kid who won the amateur from Georgia Tech, right? And he was hot, obviously, out there in Mexico. He had the putter going. Everything was going for Matt Kuchar. Matt Kuchar has been here 11 times like Harman, and he's only had 1 top 10. So why is that? You need to answer that question for me, because if we're just going buy or sell, I'd have to say sell. Mm-hmm. And he is going to be uber popular.
He is. Well, he just finished 7th at Fortinet and 2nd at Worldwide, and his putter's heating up. I mean, his putter has been really good.
Last couple of years on tour, he's been a top 10 putter year after year.
But it just feels like he's starting to. I mean, he went through a stretch here in the summer. He wasn't putting good at all. It was letting him down. He lost. There were 6 tournaments in a row. He was in the red. That's unlike Matt Kuchar.
Yeah, well, at the same time, right? Why, with his skill set, excellent wedge player, excellent putter, excellent short game, and he's at home, sleeping in his own bed, why am I selling on him?
Par fours.
I mean, he doesn't rank very high in par four scoring in the field. Sure thing, right? But I don't know. I really think it's a problem for these
Georgia
guys.
Tech kid, Bermuda. I mean,
I really think it's a problem for these guys that live here and they're hosting every night. They got to go to another party.
Yeah,
their wife's in the ear. You know, did you take out the trash this morning? You know,
that's
he's
true.
saying to her, you know, like, I got a tea time in an hour and a half, right? Like, it's the end of the year. The one thing you have going for you, if you want to buy on Kuchar, is he's sitting at 52, and he loves Augusta National. He loves it.
Well, okay.
And this is the end of the line for him. He's not going to the Hero. You know, he's not getting points for the PNC if he tees it up with Dad or something. You know, it's like, this is it. So,
speaking of taking the trash out, you know who's not taking the trash out? Denny McCarthy. What's he doing here?
You know, that's a very good question.
What is Denny McCarthy doing in Seattle right now?
I mean, at least Denny McCarthy, like, lives down in Jupiter, Florida. It's not far. I mean, like, what's Corey Connors doing here?
Better question is what is Corey Connors?
What's Corey Connors doing? You know, I mean, those two right there. I'm going to sell on both. And you know, Corey's going to be hot too, because if you look at his history there, it's solid. You know, he's had he's always made the cut there. You know, it's
you know what?
3 top 25s.
I'm surprised Denny McCarthy didn't win this year. I talked about him a lot this year. You know, I mean, I was pounding the pavement. Denny McCarthy is going to win this year, and he had his chances. You know, his best chance was at the Memorial, of course, where he finished second. But you know, there's a number of top 10s where he was there late. AT&T earlier in the year, played good at Wells Fargo. He played good at the Travelers. He played some good tournaments too.
He did.
And if there's one guy that I'm the most surprised that didn't win, it's Denny McCarthy.
One guy you're most surprised.
Well, that's a big statement. That's too overarching. But I would say guys that I was trying to, who I thought would get to that winner's circle for the first time, right? I mean, like it just felt like here he comes. His iron play was getting better. Like you could see the improvement. He's a world-class putter, and the fact that he hasn't won this year is surprising.
It's just interesting that he's here.
It is.
You know,
maybe it's like it's not too late. I can, you know, maybe he thinks he can win here.
He's doing it because he likes it, right? He's not.
Well, he doesn't want to.
He's not sponsored by RSM.
Want to take the trash out. I mean, I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably people you got to get out of the house. So Corey Connors trying to get out of the house.
I mean, if you talk about a guy that can go like +7 with the putter, and you know
that guy going conscious. Yeah,
great athlete, can play in bad weather. You know, U.S. Opens, the guy's contends. You know, he top 20s in U.S. Opens. It's if it gets nasty there, his short game and everything could. You know, I'm still not buying on a top 20 though.
HackMotion is an innovative wrist analysis sensor and app that measures players' wrist and hand movement in the golf swing. With audio feedback and different drill modes, it offers the capability to improve players' wrist mechanics in the golf swing to provide a better club face control and impact position. HackMotion can be used for both full swing and putting to cover all golf shots. HackMotion is used by some of the top golf coaches today around the world. Visit hackmotion.com. I think some guys start doing the math. Like, you know, Thanksgiving's next week. You start doing the math, how many days you're going to be at home, locked in the house with your kids. And then, okay, I'm not playing the following week. And my kids are out of school, you know, and then I got Christmas, my kid, and I'm not invited to the Hero. I'm not in the PNC. Start doing the math.
I'm not in the Century.
Yeah.
Danny McCarthy's not in the Century.
Let me call my agent real quick. Can you see if you can get me in the RSM?
Hey man, I got on a plane.
Call the sponsor. You know? Call the sponsor. Do they need me? Do they need me in December at all?
Yeah. Pick up the phone. Please pick up
all
the
right,
phone.
Buy or sell.
So I got
so you're selling
Connors and McCarthy. I'm selling.
Okay,
I'm selling. Yeah. Top 20s. I'm selling. All right. Yeah.
Let's go to. Hold on a minute. I just lost my note here. I want to go back to.
You're not talking about any other. Well, you go. You drive.
All right.
You drive.
All right. So what's Russell Henley doing?
I mean, if Russell Henley had been playing a little bit of golf, he's a great fit for this place. I mean, one of the best wedge players on tour, can get hot with the putter. I mean, he is the perfect guy to be in a playoff on Sunday and lose at this thing, and that's one of the things you got to talk about with that par 70 scoring again. In what, I think there's been 13 of these, there's been 6 playoffs. So, this is a fun event to watch. It's a fun event to handicap. And Russell Henley, for all intents and purposes, if I knew he was sharp, because I had seen a couple of starts, just give me 2 starts. A good couple good ball striking starts. Maybe a Zozo and I don't know, Napa, whatever. Who cares? I wouldn't send him to the Sanderson, and I wouldn't have sent him to that Mexico golf course. But places where his ball striking takes over, and this could be that type of place. I mean, he's a dog. He's a dog for you.
He is a dog.
So he's played here many. So that's one of the things.
He's in his class, though. He's not coming down in class like Brian. Like I said earlier,
yes, he is not. He's not even A. He's B. Yeah.
Really? You think he's B? Henley? Yeah, he's probably B. Harmon,
hang on.
Harmon's been double A coming down to B right now.
Well, no. I mean, Harmon is A. He peaked at a double A.
Yeah. That's fair.
He was double A as a junior golfer. Harmon was unbelievable as a kid.
Yeah.
All world, right? But his career, he's been mostly a B. Right. And very similar career to like a Russell Henley. Couple of wins, but you always thought, man, that guy, he's been in position more, should win more. He has the skill set to do it. But I'm not going to buy.
But Harmon closed the deal at the Open where Russell at the U.S. Open didn't.
Correct. Or, I mean, like Wailea 2 years ago. I mean, there's a lot of Henley drop-offs.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, go.
More surprised Danny McCarthy hasn't won, or the fact that we're talking about Eric Cole every single week as a favorite in the season that he has had? Is that a bigger surprise than McCarthy not winning? I mean, look, I remember when Eric Cole finished second down at Bay Hill, and that was an awesome performance.
Honda.
Or at the Honda, excuse me.
He lost in the playoff, though.
Yeah, right. And it was an awesome performance. I mean, the up and downs were insane. Really but now we propel forward, and here we are talking again about Eric Cole, and deservedly so. 2 top 3s in the last 2. I mean, the guy is unbelievable.
He's got 3 top 5s his last 4 starts.
It's unbelievable.
And the everyone's sweating the driver, but here's a place where driver's not as important. Just get it in play, Eric. Just get it in play and let the
30-1 right now.
And let the better part of your game take over. I would buy on Eric Cole.
Yeah, me too.
Because for all the reasons that we know that Russell Henley, if he was playing, would have those types of numbers in the fall against the fields he'd be playing against. He'd probably have like three top 15 finishes in 4 starts or something if Henley was playing a bunch, right? And he's doing just what Cole would do. And Cole can get hot with the putter. And he obviously knows Bermuda. Look at the Honda. And all the time he growing up down in Florida. That coastal Bermuda, man.
What a season.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What a season.
I'm more surprised when you tell me Eric Cole hasn't played in a week or 2. Then, I mean, the guy plays every week.
Yeah.
So
and plays well.
I would buy on him.
All right.
I would buy there.
Who haven't we talked to? Drive the ship. Take us to a name or two that I haven't touched on yet that you think that you would, you have a couple nice things to say, or maybe not so nice.
All right. How about this?
Because we haven't talked about the favorite yet, Neighbor. He's right now coming in at 14.
Well, I was going to say, is there anything Cameron Young can do, right, going into this week that would make you think that you would take him over Oberg?
Is there anything that he can do going into this week? Like, what do you mean?
I mean, just, after Mexico, right? Where are you?
No.
Where it has to be Oberg, right?
Yeah, it has to be, doesn't it?
He's the prohibitive favorite of this tournament.
I think he's
more so than Harmon.
I don't. Cameron Young still feels like. I mean, I know he had a couple good tournaments there. Where was it? The Open. He was 8th.
Oh yeah, the Open.
Yeah, and he was 6th before. And then he 31st the FedEx and 15th at the BMW. And like I know, like Cameron's put a few pieces together. The putter's weight has certainly shown some life.
All right,
but his approach game is just not clean enough right now for me.
All right, I'm going to go up middle tier.
Okay.
Right. The big thing for me on Oberg is that he's sitting right outside top 50 as well. And another top 10 is going to probably put him in there. All right. And he's done too. He's not going to Euro. right? So everyone made a big deal about him not going to the majors, right? And he got on the Ryder Cup team. This guy wants Magnolia Lane bad. You can just tell. And
his approach game hasn't, I mean, all in complete transparency. I mean, the guy's a driving machine.
Yeah.
His putter's good. His approach game can be a little up and down.
Wedges is the weakest part.
Yep. So, but I mean, what a fall, right? I mean, 14th, 2nd, 13th, 10th. I mean, the kid's just, he's a pup.
3 weeks in a row, I'm going to bring up this name, Taylor Pendrith, in the middle.
Man, you love him.
So
just love that.
I mean, I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, more so than your other Canadian, Svensson.
Well, if you look at Svensson since Vegas, I don't know what happened in Vegas. I didn't say anything to him. I didn't give me dirty looks, right? I didn't get the voodoo doll out, but his numbers have not been great since Vegas. And I bet him at Zozo, and he was at the bottom of the barrel. It was not good. I don't know what's going on with Svensson there, but again, Pendrith continues to trend forward. And, the putter's been good. He's played here twice before. We've got a 15th and a 26th. We've got great off the tee, excellent approach. He's, I think in his last 5 starts, he's strokes gained total 3 or 4 shots against the field. He's doing all the right things. He did what he needed to do in Bermuda for me. The first round, everyone's like, oh, well, what happened in Mexico? He shot even par, and then the last 54 holes, he shot 18 under. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, it's there. It's there. And if a Canadian could win there last year, why can't a Canadian? And he's got the experience. He's good on Bermuda. And then the other one there, you said, let me drive, right? These are the 2 names in the middle that I like. I like Pendrith, and I like the worst name in golf, Adam.
Yeah. I like Shank too. Yep.
Love Shank here.
Yeah.
Positional golf course, great approach player, great putter. Has already played this fall. So he's got a couple reps inside him. There's a name there. He's going to be up in your 65, 70 range. And that would be a guy that I would target. I would be buying on both of them. And I'm also thinking about both of them winning.
I bought on Shank. Yep. I like Shank.
Yeah.
Good season for Shank.
There you go.
I like him a lot right now. He's coming in at what is he, 66-1 right now. I'm seeing him on a couple different sites. Ben Griffin's had some good rounds here. He's played pretty well at 70. Camillo, awesome win last week. He's at 70. Luke Liss can be interesting at 65 there in the middle. There's my boy Davis Thompson, who I've been just pushing him up the leaderboard a little bit more.
I mean, I'm pushing Pendrith
15th last week. I mean, I've got to play him again. I haven't, because now at this point, I haven't played him yet. But at 60, I liked him better the last couple weeks. But you can see it. His confidence has grown. Davis Thompson's coming. He's coming. He's got some things to work out. You know who has the? Do you see those swings I post that are in blue? Yeah. And
always. I'm always guessing those.
And people are guessing.
First week was Justin Rose.
No. First week. Everybody thought it was.
Yeah, I know.
So much that I started to think it was.
Yeah.
It was Cam Davis.
Yeah.
And so I just posted this new one, and it's Davis Thompson. But there's
wait, did you just reveal that?
Yeah, I did. I just revealed. Yeah, sorry. So those are the looking out there on Twitter and Instagram. That the one I just posted is Davis Thompson. I took that at Vegas. But
another dog.
And here's another dog. And this dog has got the worst swing of them all. His swing, when you watch it, if I put his swing out there and I said, "What's this guy's handicap?"
It looks worse with a blue covering than Jim Furyk.
You'd be like 6, 5, maybe. Harris English.
Man, another dog.
And it's just it's always been a interesting move.
Yeah.
But not as dusty mechanically as Webb Simpson. Now his swing's pretty dusty. Like you're not teaching Webb Simpson swing to anybody.
Webb Simpson holds a unique record in my television golf watching career. Mm-hmm. He's the only player I've ever seen live watching golf shank the ball more than once with a mid-iron.
I mean, you're talking strong grip, fan the face, extended, face wide open, halfway down, and then just magic.
What was it, like a 6 or a 5 iron Ryder Cup Medina in 2012? He shanked on a par 3.
And so here's Harris English, right? Harris is like hand path way in, left arm deep, face wide open, shaft kind of gets a little steep in transit. It's just like, it's just like fingernails in the chalkboard.
Yeah, I mean, but
technically, I'm not saying like I get he's a great player and like you're not changing that and you're working around. It's always kind of been that way, but it's just interesting the pattern. Like I need to post that one. I need to post that one and say, hey, look.
like, but in like 2 weeks, next week you got Thanksgiving, you got to come up with something really
all
good.
these
everyone's gonna be on their phone all week.
Bulldogs. You can't get away from them. They're everywhere.
They don't stop.
Keith Mitchell.
Well, hang on, because
you like Keith Mitchell this week?
Oh,
do you?
That's where I was going next.
Okay.
He's 60.
Yep.
All right. First of all, Cashmere, man.
Yeah.
Right. He's just he's got it's the perfect weather for him. It's gonna be like 50 in the morning. Puts the sweater on, rolls up in the visor, pounds the driver. Huge advantage for him to take it a little bit past those where everyone else is laying up. When you think of Keith Mitchell at a place that we talk about him and we want to bet him outright, and we do it every single year, where's that one place? It's also a coastal tournament. It's just not this coast.
Over in California?
Yeah. Yep. They play 3 different golf courses, right?
Yeah, and
Pebble.
Yeah.
It's super positional, and he has found a home there, and he's very good at that style of golf. Fast forward to now. He's had a couple starts here. He's been decent. I think that's the type of guy that could show up and could go just super hot. He's played this fall. Okay.
Yeah.
But like Shank was mediocre this fall, but I still like him too. It's like rolling into this week, a guy that drives the ball like Keith Mitchell will have such an advantage if the weather goes south on Thursday and Friday. Right? He would just be in play so deep down there like Ludwig that it'll be the two of them in a race. And guys like Pendrith, so I really do like Mitchell this week. He's another guy that's up on that list of par 70 scorers I was talking or alluding to earlier. Right? He's in the top 10 of that. Guy makes a lot of birdies on par 4s.
You start getting down into these hundreds here. Let's talk about some long shots. Right. And there's Adam Long, 125-1. He hit 69 fairways in a row. I've been kind of sensing a little Adam Long talk out in the market too. He's getting a little love.
Yeah,
a little play. You like Adam here at all? For, make the cut, maybe a top 20.
Ooh, top 20 is a lot.
Okay,
big field, 156 players.
Yeah.
And
feels like a stretch.
Yeah, I mean, make or miss the cut. I would go make because he's been playing well lately, but much past that, I don't know that I'd even go top 40 there. This is going to be one of those weeks where like 80 guys make the cut.
The one guy that I'm really happy that's turned it around this year is Vincent Whaley. And we've been talking about him a lot, 8th at Butterfield. There's a guy that really struggled, missed a lot of cuts early on, and he just kind of like, damn, where's Vincent at? Like he kind of had it going there for a little bit. But is this officially becoming the Vincent Whaley season? Like we get to November area, and that's when he starts playing some pretty good golf. That's what he did last year. His iron game, approach game seems to be improving. He drives the ball well enough. His putting has been very good as of late. I think he checks out on Bermuda as well. He does. I'm going to sprinkle a little on Mr. Vincent because I've been on him, and maybe this is the week we see a +7 perhaps with the putter.
Well, we've talked about how hard he's been working on the putter.
Yes.
To align. So we're not going to be redundant there.
Well, and it's showing up, by the way.
100%.
It's showing up.
And the guy is an elite ball striker.
Yep.
I've watched him hit the ball up close and personal up there, Golf Club of Georgia. Guy, he's a flusher.
Yeah.
Right. If you're one of those model people or you're looking deep into the stats, one of the guys that's going to pop for you, we're talking Georgia Tech Ramblin' Wreck here, right?
Oh boy.
Chesson Hadley is going to come up, and then you're talking about guys that get hot with the putter, and he's going to be snapping all week, right, and everything. He's got 10 starts at Sea Island, and no top 10s, Travis, and no top 20s. And here's a guy that went to Georgia Tech, would have played there in tournaments, would know the golf courses, and here, he's not performing there. If you give me a choice between those two Yellow Jackets, I'm going Vince Whaley all day. And Vince isn't going to pop in your models as much as Chesson is, but I got to go the other way because, history is a funny way of repeating itself.
Well, you look at. Let's go back to some of these previous finishes now that you've brought it up, and some guys that we've left off that have played well here over the last 5 years. We left off Naismith. Naismith has couple top 20s here as of the last few years. We did talk about McCarthy. Long was top T16 2 years ago. There's the Todd father. Another we have to mention every single Georgia Bulldog as we come across it. Patton Gazire, he's not a bull. He's Auburn.
Yeah. War Eagle.
Yeah.
Good wedge and putter though. I mean, I bet him. I didn't bet him. I top 30'd him last week, and he was just outside that.
I got to give you one more name.
Here we go.
Yeah. Going back to the middle of the field, and I've brought him up a couple times.
All right.
And we had a small bet on him. I don't know if you remember, but I'll remind you now. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago at the Zozo. I said top 20, and you said absolutely not. Remember? JJ?
Spawn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But the issue there, Spawn
6 at Zozo.
Elite ball striker. And the putter.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of the things that JJ Spawn does. It's a little known fact about when
I don't like JJ here.
The approach game at these two golf courses.
Yeah.
Everyone on the PGA Tour that's going to be in the top 50 this week is going to be on their wedge game. And they're all great wedge players to begin with. All 156 of them are great wedge players, right? But they're all going to be good. The way you separate yourself at a place like this is how good are you with your long iron play when those long par threes come up or those reachable par fives come up, because that's where you can really start to distance yourself. And if you look at the leaders from or the winners from the last, and I did a deep dive on this, right? So if you look at the winners from the last 10 years, right, their proximity to the hole where they led the field was not 100 to 125, wasn't 125 to 150, it wasn't 150 to 175, it was 200 plus.
Wow.
That's where they had the biggest gains. Now, you got to understand what that means, right? So they had gains from 125 to 150, but the biggest gains that they showed were at 200 plus. What shots are those? And what does strokes gained really mean? It's when Travis hits an approach shot and it's that much closer than mine or the field he has gained against them, right? The guy that's going to gain with those 200 plus shots, and JJ Spawn could do that, right? Because he is a really good long iron fairway wood player, right? So those approach shots, and it just goes year after year after year. I mean, and you're talking about Svensson and Gooch and Streb and Duncan, right? These guys, they all, every single year, it's like starting on plantation on Thursday, right? It's the same thing. This unique trend comes up, and I look at that and I go, okay, well, if a guy is not really good at 200 plus, his wedges are average, he is not on my list this week, right? Like sometimes when you start talking about buy and sell these names, right? I need some guys in there that are really good from that far away. And it's just, I mean, this is why you tune in on a Tuesday. You're not going to get that anywhere else.
That's good. That's good insight there on that long iron play. You know, I was just looking up some, the best putters in the field, which I like to do each week. You got the usuals there, and Mav and McCarthy and Brian Gay and Taylor Montgomery. There's Harris English, who I don't think gets enough credit for how great of a putter he is.
Excellent.
Brian Harmon, JT Post, and Eric Widget. We mentioned those guys. So there's two names that I had early circles that we haven't talked about yet, and I want to finish with these two names.
Is one of them?
One of them I bring up a lot, and the other one not so much.
I have two names left myself.
Do you?
Yes.
Does it?
They're deep down the board. They're deep down the board.
Not that far down the board.
Yeah. I was saving them towards the end, but
first one's a putter.
Okay, first one.
So Justin Sutt, right? I mean, is this a spot for him? And the other one who ran up the board last week, Noren.
Yeah. I mean, in Noren's in that like second tier, there's a better chance of him buy or sell top 10 than it is on probably Denny McCarthy.
Yeah, those are your two putters right there that we haven't talked about yet. And Justin Sutt and Alexander Noren.
Yeah.
And his gyration of covering it.
Yeah.
All right, where were you going?
And Noren's always closing the range, whether he's leading the tournament or not.
Yeah.
Every tournament I'm ever at.
Always covering it.
Oh, man.
He just needs to get like a shot collar when he takes on too much side bend.
And he gets this, like, everyone has this preconceived notion or bias of Alex Noren that maybe because of his accent or whatever, or because he always works so hard, or because he has that gyration that he's like super technical and everything. The guy is super funny to listen to, right? So I was out in Austin this year at the match play, and he's closing down the range, and he's walking out, and there's people walking out of the clubhouse party. They're having like a reception. and these guys are tuned up. And I don't even think they know that this is one of the guys playing in the event because it's so late. There's only 2 guys on the range, and it's usually the same 2 guys, Sahith and Noren. Okay. So Noren's walking back towards the clubhouse, and I'm walking with him. And this guy is all tuned up, and he goes, points him at in his chest, and he doesn't touch him, but he like points at him, and he goes, "You're going to win this week." And Noren looks him right in the face, and he goes, "Probably not." And he just keeps walking. And the guy's face was like you'd seen a ghost. And I was doing my very best not to laugh. And
he's made some hay this fall.
Oh yeah.
He's done well.
Yeah.
Third at Shriner, second at Butterfield.
Yeah. Ran
up the board there. Can he he struggled pretty much early season he struggled. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm probably not gonna play. I'll probably pass.
I'm deeper into other names.
Okay,
at this point.
Give me the last.
No, I meant as far as betting Noren or going there. Yeah. The other ones that I've leaned on.
But you were saying another name.
Yeah. Your course record holder, if you want to go further down, 58. Grayson Sig.
Grayson Sig. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then another guy down there who's played well there is a little bit of Flash Gordon, and Flash Gordon, Will Gordon, has had a good fall. Those are 2 guys that could be bombs. That don't be surprised if they're hanging around.
Will Gordon, another Vanderbilt.
Yeah. A lot of Vanderbilt talk these days.
A lot of SEC going on here.
Oh, well, I mean, this is where they host their championship. Like every other year or something like that. So these guys see this place a lot. But Grayson Sig shot 58 here. On Seaside.
That's insane.
12 under. So
58. A break.
It's
funny with funny with Will, like, because I mean, you're looking at 5 or 6 straight miscuts, and then all of a sudden Zozo finds something 21st, carries it over to Worldwide 15th.
Yeah, I mean his last 3 starts, he has a miscut, a 10th, and a 15th.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
last 2 have been good.
Yeah,
last 2 have been good.
Well, in between there was a miscut, but he, I think. You can check that.
No, he had 5 straight miscuts, and then he went 21st, then 15th. That's the way it lays out for me.
Well, anyway, I like Flash Gordon. That's where I'm going there.
I mean, we got to talk. We got to go. The last Georgia Bulldog we haven't talked about, right? Kids.
I mean,
200 to 1. So Kiz. So I get some questions about Kiz. What happened to Kiz? What happened? So Kiz switched his longtime coach.
Yeah.
Did something else. It was about what was it? I think it was first of the year last year.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to mention any names. And I remember kind of learning what was happening. And I was like, wow, some pretty good sized changes. And man, he lost it whole game. It just didn't
I mean, he took months off.
Yeah, I don't understand. And Kisner was playing good golf. I mean, he was right there to make the Ryder Cup there, 2 years ago.
Months off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, his ball striking got bad, and then it filters into the rest of his game. That guy, you can't be short and crooked. Can't be short and crooked.
No.
That stage of your career.
No, you can be short and straight.
At that stage of your career, playing good golf, I just don't see the need to you know what? I'm going to just switch from the last 10, 12 years I've been doing, which has been pretty damn good up to this point. You could make the argument Kisner might be a little bit of an overachiever. Considering today's, and I say that in all due respect, that is not a slight.
Well,
I just say it because it's a distance era, and Kisner's not long at all. So he competes his ass off, or was, and so now you make changes. Or what's the change? Unless the change is going to yield 25 yards of distance, I don't see why. I don't see the point. I'm just sorry. I don't see why you would want to start making swing changes at this stage. Why? It just doesn't even make sense to me.
I'm not a Kisner fan, but I'm going to give him huge props here. What's his slogan, right? This ain't no hobby.
Right.
People don't realize how good Robert Streb is, or Kevin Kisner is, or any of these guys that all win at the RSM. So to put a bow on this, right?
Austin Cook.
Like Adam Svensson, right? If Adam Svensson rolled up to your club on Saturday, he would whoop you like you wouldn't believe, and he wouldn't miss a shot because it wouldn't be in a PGA Tour event, and he would absolutely, you'd be like, how did this guy just make? This guy's made 11 birdies. Right.
Yeah.
And he hit 16 greens, and then, he never looked like he was ever made a mistake, and Kisner, I love the fact that Kisner once brought it up, was like, hey, this isn't a hobby for us. Like, we're really good. I understand that you think you've played Sea Island before, but like, I'm really good.
Yeah, and you shot 74 and you felt like you left 3 out there. No,
you didn't. No, you didn't. Yeah, I won there at 22 under, you know, like, I mean, for 4 days. So, like, at the end of the day, I'll always give Kisner props for that. He's not my style, but I tell you what, the fact that he said the unsaid thing and was like, folks, put it in check, pump the brakes for a minute. You know, I love him for that.
Yeah.
And I hope he gets it back because he's good for the game, because his commentary is
he's got some work to do.
Yeah.
And he just seems like he's dug himself an unnecessary hole, which I just watch these things when they go down and I talk about him on the podcast. Like, I was like, I don't get the Kisner one. I never got the Ricky Fowler situation. Like, I'm like, why? What are we doing?
Yeah.
And
those are 2 deep ones too.
Yeah. And so the one I'll finish with that did work for the positive, and he's in the field this week, is Padraig Harrington. He's in the field. He's at 175 to 1. His coach, guy he worked with, is by the name of Michael Jacobs. He's one of the best in the 3D world. And he really helped Padraig navigate the speed.
Oh, man, did he ever?
And Padraig got a lot longer.
Didn't he ever?
And so Jacobs will be on the pod tomorrow with me and talking about this very, very interesting man, Michael Jacobs. You won't, if you like instruction and you like speed and you like deep data and why supported by data, you'll love tomorrow. Love it. Because the dude's one of the best when it comes to 3D. Agreed to come on. We're gonna chat about Padraig. So anyway, good stuff. We I know we went a little longer today, but hey, it's the last, you know, it's the last season. You're here, last tournament of the year.
I'll be back for players.
You'll be back for players, and we'll do a show for Hero.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll do a show for Hero.
It's your show. I mean,
we'll do a show for Hero.
And
then
I answer when called.
And then I think I've got a couple ideas that maybe we'll do some stuff leading into next season as well.
Ooh.
A little preview show heading into 2024.
Anything I should prep for?
Maybe we should talk about TGL and LIV. Like, we just talk about it all, right? We should just try to handicap this whole thing. But you've had a hell of a season, by the way. Let's end with this. You've had a hell of a season. How many wins total PGA Tour on PGA Tour?
14.
Wow.
14 wins. Yeah. It's we're making money, man.
Yeah. You've had a great year.
Yeah. I did the numbers. You know, I track them all. 1,111 bets I've posted through Read the Line.
Yeah.
With just under a 15% net return.
Yeah. Wow.
So
and I like that you stay the course with who you are and what you do.
Yeah.
And you're very strict about it. And I try to pull you off it sometimes and be like, no, come on, you know, and I'm a little looser with my money at times. I absolutely throw some on there.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes that pays off and most of the time it doesn't. And in the end, in the long haul, that's the important part, right? In the long haul, because to your point, you're counting all of the bets.
Every single bet.
And so there's a real discipline that goes into that.
And there's a lot of live betting in there, Travis.
Yeah.
You know, and that makes up for a week where, you know, maybe your outrights don't really necessarily show up, right? So you already have that money. You have those units extended. So you've got to make it up somehow. And you start hitting those head-to-heads and you can make some money back, or you hit a placement over the weekend and you get a nice 2-to-1 there. And the next thing you know, like, you break even for the week and you go on to the next week. But, you know, a 40% ROI on this season on outrights is
fantastic. Well, let's get one more.
Hey,
RSM Classic.
Your lips to God's ears, baby. Let's do it. Let's do it. Hey, you know what? We've been doing this now for 6 months, right? And I absolutely love it every Tuesday. I know the listeners love it.
Yep.
Right. And I've learned a lot, and I can't wait for all the things we've talked about for 2024. When we come back, we're going to do more swings, more why.
Yeah.
We pick these guys for the golf course, and we're just going to win even more.
Yeah. We're gonna clean up a few things in the next year. And really make the show. It's already very unique, I think, for both of us as golfers, and you're the expert and the handicapper, and I'm kind of tied into the game a little differently from my backdrop.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to bring all that stuff more full circle, consistent next year, and probably move the show to Monday.
Oh, well, yeah.
For the betting.
Well, I mean, TGL.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah.
You know, at least up until Augusta.
I think
whenever it ends.
I think we'll probably move this show to Monday.
Yeah.
Probably sprinkle a little TGL with PGA Tour. I think that'll be fun.
Hey, next week's Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for the Tuesday Stripe Show.
Hey,
thanks, man.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Back tomorrow. Michael Jacobs. Don't miss it.